trying to trick you into thinking that what's true and what's real is just something some hippie made up somewhere. Well, that's not how that happens. What we have also that some hippie did find was a substance called ibogaine. Did you know that our government, at least since the 50s, has known that there is a single treatment antidote for addiction, and they've kept it a secret from us? Not only did they keep it a secret from us after finding out what it does, they went ahead and they made it illegal. And it's a Schedule 1 drug right up there with pot. You know what's not a Schedule 1 drug? Cocaine. Cocaine's a Schedule 2 drug. Morphine is a Schedule 2 drug. Cocaine and morphine are technically more legal than ibogaine, which is the antidote to both those addictions. Go figure. There's America for you. There's your tax dollars hard at work for you. And the thing is, people say, well, what does ibogaine mean to the pot movement? Well, it means two things. First of all, the research on melatonin, which is the true neurotransmitter that your brain involves when you're getting high from THC, that research came out of the ibogaine research. They never would have discovered the melatonin release connection from when you smoke pot. I'll just quickly say, when you take your first 2 hits off of your weed, any grade of weed, you're going to get pretty much the best of it out of those first 2 hits, because what happens is your brain releases all the melatonin it has stored in the pituitary gland, and when that melatonin runs out, your brain doesn't have the ability to put out more until it manufactures it. And it usually means it has to recycle what's been used and then remanufacture it. So you get that initial feeling. And then, I mean, if you want to smoke to have fun, you should just put the joint down, because if you keep smoking, after you have melatonin and the REM dreamy rush it gives you, your reflex in your brain is they have a phase of deep sleep, and that's the relaxation mode that cannabis is so famous for. So you know the line. Everybody's hit the line. You know, you can do 1 or 2 tokes and you get that happy up head buzz feeling, or you can go a little further across the line and you start getting the body buzz relaxed kind of feeling. It's two hits in one. So that's the story about that. Knowing about melatonin and melatonin supplementation, you can enjoy your pot highs better, and you can avoid sleep deprivation, which you can sometimes get from smoking pot at the wrong times of the day. But that research came out of the ibogaine study, because ibogaine is very similar to melatonin. Melatonin is basically made of tryptamine. Tryptamine is your own natural hallucinogenic, dream-generating drug that your pituitary gland creates. So tryptamine is a single molecule. Now, you might have heard of tryptophan, like from a turkey dinner. That's like, you can think of it as like 2 or 3 tryptamine molecules strung together, kind of weak, but it'll make you relaxed and drowsy. Melatonin that pot makes you release is like a string of maybe 10 or 20 tryptamine molecules, so it's a higher, dreamier kind of effect. Then there used to be a drug called DMT, dimethyltryptamine, and that is like a chain of hundreds of tryptamine molecules strung together, and that'll put you into a waking dream phenomena for a good hour, and then you come down real fast. Now imagine. And by the way, dreaming is the most healthy thing your brain can do. Dreaming is when your brain takes the raw data that you get in during the day and transmutes that into knowledge and learning and understanding. So dreaming is important, and when you don't get your dreaming, it affects your health. If you have a disease that keeps you up, you need something that you can get good dreamy sleep, because it's important to your health. And what's important to my health too, and even though I'm a perfectly healthy cannabis user since I was 12. What we have is, can you imagine a string of hundreds of thousands of tryptamine molecules that are enough to have you in hard REM waking dream sleep for 24 hours? What that will do is, if you're an addict, it'll wash the junk chemistry out of your brain. It'll reset all your neurotransmitter receptors to the point where they are putting out their proper levels of all their appropriate neurotransmitters. It goes back down to the DNA level in your brain and says, what's supposed to be happening here? Okay, now let's get back to it. That's what's happening with ibogaine. And that's why ibogaine is the antidote to addiction. That is why ibogaine proves that pot is not addictive. And when I show church groups and conservatives the ibogaine information, they say, well, what's with all these pot leaves and stuff? What's with all these hippies? I have to tell them that, look, the hippies and the potheads and the nonconformists and the radicals are the ones who brought out the antidote to addiction and shamed our government into taking a Schedule 1 drug and putting it in FDA federal approval trials. And ibogaine has finished its FDA phase 1 trials. It has phase 2 and phase 3 to go. the good news. The bad news, of course, is the Bushites and the government and the drug warriors have yanked the money and won't pay for the FDA study. So again, it's a bunch of hippies, it's a bunch of drug addicts who had their victory through Ibogaine and their families who have donated the money required to pay for an FDA fund that our DEA could pay for in 1 month's worth of its annual budget. That's the war on drugs for you. That's why the war on drugs is a fraud, and that's why we'll continue to spread the cures not wars message of Ibogaine and all pot until the day I die. If I become the president of some organization or an executive director, I'm not going to retire. I'm not going to resign until the problem's solved, because that's just not the way I play it. I don't have a choice. Now, I don't have a choice not to fight this because I can only speak of the things I've seen and heard. I don't have a choice because it's a burden on me that I'm not putting down for nothing. But I still have a choice. Some people don't have a choice. I'll tell you something about choice. The homeless people in the city of Detroit make it to this event every year. They wake up and they see me putting together a rally in what's basically their front yard. And they're like, what's this crazy white guy doing? But he looks okay. He's not going to hurt me. And I've found that some of these people have just had better ideas, been more motivated, have done more to help the movement than I've seen from a busload of white suburban activists from some very organized organizations out there, I'm sure. And they're here because they have that level of freedom that comes from not having a choice, you know? And then, of course, we've got a president who had his daddy buy his freedom for him. And then we also have the people who have no choice because they have a body-racking and nerve-wracking disease, a serious disease that puts them under in a way that would torture anyone. We would want to die. I would want to die. I couldn't live like that. Even with the immense help she's gotten, you know, she's also dabbled in the Western medicine and has suffered damage. I've had to drive this woman, I'm talking about Renee Emery-Wolf in this particular case, I've had to drive her to the hospital before because she stopped using her cannabis medicine and said, well, I'm going to give their latest thing. They had some new treatment, I'm not sure what the hell they even call it, but she said, well, this is something new, this sounds like it might be valid science, I'm going to try it. And the lack of relief was so bad that she was in agony and had to be wheeled back into the hospital. And this is just one of the many stories that this woman can tell you. She's a true activist. She's not going to retire because, of course, she's going to be in this body for life. And we're knowing that you're going to get a wonderful, glorious body very soon. But until then, you're doing what you can about this sin, this blasphemy against God's prime plant. So tell us some stuff, Renee.
Hello. Thanks for everybody being here. And I know I've had MS for 28 years, and it's been lovely and very interesting, but again, I'm not very interested anymore. But what I'm here to tell you is that this is a gift from God, and He put it here so that we might use it, not abuse it. There's a difference between use and abuse. And I know that I have tried the medications that they prescribe, and they just make me sicker. So I tried the marijuana, and being the first MS patient in the state tested with government-issued marijuana gives me a position, and I've chosen to take that position upon myself and act upon that position. And the only way I can act is to communicate. And I need to communicate to you of my need for the weed. And I don't know that I'm any different from anybody else, because we all have those cannabinoid receptors in our brain. And I just happened to tap into them. And I found them. Thank God. Because I had the balls to go to my doctor and tell him, I cannot yield to a walk before I smoke, but I can after I smoke. So there's got to be something to this. So they did a big old study and everything. Then in 1987, I believe it was, our ex-president Bush, that nixed the IND program, which is the investigational new drug program. He nixed it. He just said, no, nobody else can get it for medicine. And so I'm shit out of luck. I've had MS since I was 19 years old. And I'm old enough to know better, too young to resist. But it don't matter. It's still going on. And they told us so many years ago, back in the 60s, that, oh, it was going to be legal before long. Well, it's 2007. What the hell's the deal? Because we haven't been organized or activated. And it's up to each and every one of us to do as much as we can every day to educate people and to not change anyone's mind, but just open their mind.
We're hanging.
And I just can't get over the loveliness of this because we're all able to communicate. And
I'm supposed to be manning that table.
thank you so much for being here, everybody. And I think I'm about out, and I'm kind
That's what I
of.
said, you know?
Get the munchies.
If he would have known that so many hippies were going to be there, he should have hired somebody.
You want the band to have the mic?
There, some other guys were in there. Biker dog, whatever. And it's almost like, I was passing here. And, I guess one of James.
Around 4, we're going to have James and the Rainbros. I don't know what time the drumming's starting. Da-da-da-da-da-da! Go save somebody. Good. Firemen are good. They help. Taking center stage. Is there anyone else that has anything they would like to say up here pertaining to medical marijuana, marijuana for recreation, anything other knowledge or anything? Come on up. Any laws being passed, just any kind of tidbits. Okay, you're next. Just short, if you can. Paul is coming up now.
You don't like him either? No. You know, Ron Bone's been here for a bit. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, that's...
Hello. Hello, everyone.
All right.
The Detroit area, people who live in the Detroit area, fellow Michiganders.
Get a gander.
We're all gathered here today for an obvious purpose. We have a terrible injustice in this world. We have beautiful things, plants like marijuana being controlled by our governments, people. Lives are being destroyed. Thousands and thousands of people's lives being destroyed, being thrown in a cage for a simple, very beautiful, very, very harmless thing like marijuana. Cannabis, excuse me. Cannabis.
Has he yet? What? No, he's already started. There's a hardware store. There's any more burnables out here. Guess I should have fucking just got enough.
Do the job and make the word heard.
Next up is Mick, and after that, if there's anyone else, please come up, or we'll close as far as the speaking and start some other things. I think somebody's here with some food and drink. I'm not sure. But there are a few places around here. The subway, hopefully they'll still keep letting us use their bathroom. And they do have water and things there too. So we'll help the community if we can.
Thank you very much. Hello, hello.
Hello!
Why just leave us alone? What's wrong with that? As this young lady here was earlier talking, she said, I think there's food and drink coming and stuff like that. But she's not sure. But at Woodstock, they were sure. There's a lot of people doing what we do every single day. Let's hear it.
He's the beer keeper, or the bartender.
My daughter's 15 years old. I'm 38. And my daughter called me the other day and she said, Dad, let me ask you something. I got two questions. Did you ever smoke weed? And did you ever have sex? She's like, Dad, listen to me.
See you in a few
I gotta
minutes.
tell you something. And don't be mad at me. And don't think I'm a slut. But listen, something happened the other night. And she's like, basically, my daughter got high and got laid. And she's like, what do you think about that? I'm like, listen, if you want to smoke, smoke. But remember one thing, you're still a slut because you're my daughter. No. We're all educated people. We're all educated people. Now, maybe if we could do something like this, maybe we could make an arrangement with the man. And the arrangement might be something like this. How about we all take a written test? Let me see a show of hands. You guys want to do what you want to do? Let me see your hands. Would you take a written test to do it? A written test, just an IQ test, an intelligence test. Because let's face it, one thing. If you legalized it and you said, hey, you got to take a test, IQs in this country would raise by 50%. You'd have 15-year-olds on the street discussing the Kepler theory and Elizabethan poetry. We got to do it, man. It's time. What are we, fucking living in bedrock? What is this? This is not Leave It to Beaver. We're grown people. It's 2007. It's no longer the 60s. I was born in 1968. You know what? I'm a little bit pissed off that I'm here today, but you know what? I'm glad and I'm happy because I'm around all you people. This is the best place to be here on a Saturday afternoon in Detroit. Have fun. God bless you. Do what you do.
It wasn't a rumor. I just went and checked. Pretty soon there's going to be some sandwiches and food out there. It might be nice to leave them a little donation, but it's not necessary. In fact, I just thought of that. Maybe they don't even want that, but it's a couple of people that have come every year and brought some food. We had a lot less people, more homeless, which obviously are people. I don't mean it that way, God forbid. But, and like I said, there's food in a few other places around here. But if we need some nourishment, you need something, go over there and help yourself when they put it out, and thank them for bringing it. And up next we have Anna.
Hello, Detroit, guys. Something that caught my eye, which I thought was kind of terrible, but that's why we're all here today. One thing that caught my eye on the internet. Why is it that a man in this country could get more jail time for murder than for selling cannabis? You tell me, people, and let's all tell our officials. They're supposed to be for us, right? But really, I don't know. It's all debatable. That's why we all gotta speak up, especially for medicinal marijuana. Cannabis, sorry guys. There you are. That's all I gotta say. Peace out.
Anybody else want to come up? What's your name? Becky wants to say something.
Okay, I'm from an organization called MichiHemp, which is like industrial hemp campaign that I started maybe 6 months ago. But I just want to say that there's a bill in Congress right now in Washington, D.C. It's sponsored by Ron Paul, who's a Republican from Texas, which might be surprising to some of you. But yeah, this is the second time this bill is going through Congress. The first time it was H.R. 3037, I believe, and this year around it's H.R. 1009, and it's called the Industrial Hemp Farming Act. And I just want to ask you guys to get in touch with your representatives and ask them to co-sponsor. I believe there are maybe 11 other Congress people that are co-sponsoring this bill right now. What we need to do is, it's so simple. Go to a website website, type in an email, press a button, and that's all you got to do. I have flyers. I have the website you go to get in touch with your congressperson. Handwritten letters are better, calls are better, but even if you spend 5 minutes just sending an email, that's better than complaining and doing nothing. And I'd also like to ask everyone to vote if you can. That's also another very simple thing we can all do to try and change this. So yeah, see me for a flyer if you want, but yeah, I just want to get the word out on HR 1009, the Industrial Hemp Farming Act of 2007. I think it has about a year to go before it's voted on. It'll probably be voted on next year, so yeah.
Oh, okay, sure, man. I guess my lighter wasn't good enough.
Thank you, Becky. Anybody else got something they'd like to say? Like to have everyone up here for a minute or two if we have the time or if you want it to come up.
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
I'm a good saleswoman. I'm talking people into coming up here. What's your name? Hi, Cliff. Can I drop over sometime?
Hey everyone, hey, my name's Cliff. I'm from Lansing, capital city. I came over a couple months
Oh my God! Run, everybody, run!
I'm only 17. I'm in high school still. Next year I'm gonna be starting us. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna start Students for Sensible Drug Policy chapter in my school, Waverly High School. Yeah, I'm also trying to start a Lansing normal chapter too. I gotta wait till I turn 18 and stuff. I went to Hash Bash for my first year this year. It was awesome. Everybody should go out to Hash Bash. I don't know, I'm just a big supporter. I've seen this plant do some wonderful things. My mom's a state worker. She has a bunch of friends that work for the state, and one of her friends got diagnosed with MS 8 years ago, and she's been smoking pot for about 7 years. She says it's the best medicine, so I trust it. So it's a wonderful plant, but I don't know, I'm just glad to see all these people out here. It'd be great if there was some more maybe next year or whatever. But I'll be at Hash Bash in this for as long as it's here. So check it out.
Hi everybody, my name is Mike, and we all talk about all the repression we get from the government over the subject of marijuana, but nobody says why. Why would they bother? Well, marijuana to many of us is a sacrament. Marijuana is one of the plant teachers. Plants have been around a lot longer than animals. Plants have a different kind of consciousness than we do. But they bring us many benefits, and are therefore our teachers and our friends. They don't make the old religions wrong, but it gives you a spiritual shortcut to a higher self if you look at it right. Marijuana can lead you down evil pathways, very rarely, but you have to intend to go there. Marijuana can also bring you to advanced spiritual pathways if you want to go there, if you want it to help you to elevate your soul. It can be used that way. But what's the function of the normal religions for the government? They put a basis for operation. Without standard Judeo-Christian religions, which are good, there would be no basis of morality for a lot of the laws. And let's face it, this is a legislation of morality. It doesn't need to be. So just kind of think of marijuana in those different terms as a religious experience, and a religion is being suppressed because it does threaten the government's power. Power which we should have as people over the government when it has taken it from us.
Uh-oh, your buddy's coming up here.
Anybody else want to come up here?
Oh, hey, all right.
Mimi, I'm sorry. Just met you today, though. Mimi wants to say something.
How many of you kids smoke pot? Yeah? How many of you guys drink beer? You know that the companies are paying to keep pot illegal? Anheuser-Busch, Miller, and Coors pay to keep pot illegal so that you'll drink more of their slop. Quit drinking their slop and smoke more pot. We'll roll it up. Pot will make you smarter. The alcohol will make you dumber.
Oh,
Don't fall in their trap.
I think I gotta stick up.
Okay? This drug war is wrong. It should be a war on sugar, the gateway drug. You ask any 3-year-old. If you hold up a joint and if you hold up a lollipop, which one is the 3-year-old gonna take? Sugar opens all the addictive centers in your brain and leads you to harder drugs like chocolate, caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine long before you ever reach the sacred cannabis plant. Not to mention all the pharmaceuticals that your parents have given you. Those are the real drugs. Don't fall in their trap. Go out and tell people about the wonders of this plant. The pharmaceutical companies pay to keep this plant illegal because they will lose between 80 and 90% of their pill profits. That's bad for pharmaceuticals. The oil companies pay to keep hemp illegal because if we planted 10% of our farmlands in hemp, we wouldn't have boys dying in the desert for oil. The chemical companies pay to keep pot illegal because when you grow pot, it aerates and de-weeds a foot of soil. You have no need for their pesticides because the hemp kills the nematodes. You have no need for their fertilizers because it binds the phosphorus and the nitrogen to the soil. We have 33 acres and we refuse to grow food for city people because we're not allowed to grow pot. We got flowers we'll sell your relatives when you die to put on your casket, but we ain't growing you no food. How many acres you got in your apartment? Spread the word. If we can't grow this plant, we can't save the world. If you really want a world for your children, start advocating for hemp. The oil companies won't like it, but fuck the oil companies. They've destroyed this planet. Fuck these chemical companies. We don't need their poisons. We got pot. And like Jay said, marijuana is how you call a Mexican whore. It has nothing to do with the sacred marijuana plant. It was a trick because everybody knew what hemp and marijuana, what hemp was. Nobody knew what marijuana was. Makes white women tap their feet to Negro music. It makes a black man so bold as to walk on a white man's shadow. We can't have that. We have to keep our races separate. That's what the drug war is about. Your best medicines are grown in the countries where brown-skinned people live. We went to Afghanistan and tore out all their poppies and told them they had to grow rice in a desert. We got no fucking brains? You need water to grow rice. It don't grow in a desert. Pot grows there. The best hash plants grow there. The best medicines grow there. Your medicines were sent by your creator, not your pharmaceutical representative. Don't let them destroy your kidneys and your liver with their pills and their sugar. Tell them just say no to drugs, sugar, caffeine, alcohol, nicotine, chocolate, alcohol. That's right. No more beer. Fuck them. Tell them you want to smoke pot and you're a voter. You write them a letter. Your handwritten letter is worth the opinion of 10,000 voters. One letter. Right. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. That's 28,000 votes sitting right here. Write a letter.
Thank you, Mimi. She was really fantastic. All the knowledge, everybody was, but I learned a little bit more, and I also, the things I knew were put into perspective and said beautifully. So thank you very much. Anybody else want to come up here? You, or you? Susan Sunshine wants you. Who? Cosmo will do us justice when he gets on the drums. He's not a public speaker, I guess. But you're always welcome to come up if you want to. Second seconds. Now we're starting with sloppy seconds with Marvin Marvin of the Party, or ex-Party.
Susan, that was real funny. You know, it's turning out to be quite a nice day, isn't it? It's really, we need to get that H thing going again, eh? Pick up some energy. You know, it's H-E-M-P, okay? You gotta all participate. Give me an H. One more time. Give me an H. Give me an E. Give me an M. Give me a P. What's that spell? What's that spell? Hamburger. Hamburger. Woo! Woo! Hey, by the way, Felice, I really enjoyed your speech, your talk. I figured something out. I mean, about the addiction process, about things. There's some very, Jay, I really enjoyed what you've been doing today. It's really delightful. I had no idea that this is such a beautiful park. The way this is all set up, it's quite inspiring. And I know that people who are here today, if there's other events here, they're going to go back and tell their friends, because this is definitely an interesting place to be. This has a whole lot of potential. Why don't we do this weekly? Or every, the first Sunday of the month or something. Something like that would be sweet, wouldn't it? Hey, attorney, sir, can we do this, like, have this event here like the first Sunday of the month? Or are you always on your boat? I want to know. We should do this the first, what is this? This is the middle of, shit. We need help. So listen, if you're here and you're inspired, you should take this on and organize it. This is a great place to put on concerts. Young people need a place to put on concerts. This is a good place. You create this, you know? I'm an old guy. I don't have the energy to do it anymore. You know, Susan, don't you see this as that this should be a good place for a weekly concert, like a community concert?
All ages.
All ages, yes. I like that idea. But I wonder how often this is booked. It isn't booked by other communities? You guys would come back here on a Sunday, wouldn't you? If we were to do this like the first Sunday of the month, or the last Sunday of the month, what do you think, Felice? It's got energy, doesn't it? Like the community concert series during the summer? Why not? Why not? So, all right, I don't know. I'm gonna think about it, because I'm Marvin Marvin of the Party. And if any of you seen any bees, there's a report. There's a missing couple billion bees. If you happen to see some, please notify Washington. There's an all-points bulletin out trying to locate billions of lost bees before there's no planet left. So, you know, I think we might find that marijuana or cannabis, bees love cannabis. Yeah, that's the story. Bees need cannabis. Do you think they'd legalize cannabis if they knew that the bees were totally needed that to survive? Or they still keep weed illegal just to fuck with us? Okay, all right. When I'm done, the drumming is going to begin. So that's far out. You know, what I was going to say something. Oh, damn. It would have been great cannabis seeds. You know, I'm just sharing with you that it's a good community of activists. If any of you are thinking of becoming a marijuana activist, it's really a good feeling to be involved in this activism thing. I've been doing it now for about 20 years, and other activism before that, and community activism is fun too. Detroit, if you look around, it doesn't even look like it's Detroit. I mean, it's just amazing down here. I feel like I'm in Paris or something, or Moscow, you know, somewhere romantic, but it's Detroit. How many of you came a long distance? Some people came from Lansing. Thank you, people from Lansing. Yeah, that's good. And you came from? Right from the D. Who's from the D? The big D. Woo! Let's hear for the D. You know, the D legalized medical marijuana. That's not really legalized it, but it's pretty damn well legal for medical purposes in Detroit. Thanks to the D. D is for Detroit. Yes. And that's Bill Dower. Bill Dower is a great American, one of a true patriot, and a great comedian, and a great friend. Let's hear it for Bill Dower here. Detroit legend, which is really nice. Well, I'm enjoying hanging out with you, and I love the energy here. So I think we should really, Jay, really help kick us in the pants about getting a monthly concert going here. You know, on a Sunday. That would be fun. What do we need? Do we need?
Saturday in the park. Think it might have been Detroit City. All right, we have a sign-making contest, but nobody's signed up for the sign-making contest, so we got some prizes I guess I'm going to get to take home, but we do have some signs over there that are kind of blank but have a picture on them. And, well, that's good, but it's not a sign, it's a drum. It's bigger than a sign. So we've got some pens and stuff. You know, if you can think of a nice pro-pot or anti-drug war or anti-Bush, anti-war statement you want to put on a sign, grab a sign, draw one up, and you can join the sign-making contest. And we were going to, try to get a donation to sign up, but we won't even do that now. We'll just go ahead and let you guys sign up for the sign contest. And we've got Fat Freddy comics from the Groovy 70s, and we've got some hempware. We've got some CDs with some really cool information on them and entertainment on them. So there's some stuff worth your while in the sign contest. So, you people sitting in front behind you, behind the hedge there, we've got the sign area. And so that was a good stage announcement for that. I wanted to take care of that. The other thing is I want to know who here lives the closest to Grand Circus Park. Let's start with Wayne County people. Where am I? We got it, nobody raising their hand. Nobody lives close. This guy. You live on 4th. He's close too. We got some close people here. I need somebody who lives here close to this park. You got a computer at home? Could I borrow the power cord from your computer so I can have a wireless mic to MC with? Yeah, the part that goes in the back of the electricity for power. Just for the duration of the event, if you want to hang out. Well, that has like an adapter thing, so you don't have a power cord like that probably. Okay, so you're relieved. You're relieved. Okay, next guy. I'm going to try the band's wireless then, and I'll let us know. Now, you look kind of familiar. It seems like I might have seen you at Hash Bash or something before. No? Really? You a Detroit guy? Cool. We got a local from the city here, works down the street. So we're going to get a man on the street interview. What do you think about Liberation Day in Detroit today?
It's nice. It's a little windy. I think it's perfect outside. Everyone here is very willing to communicate. I like them.
Do you appreciate Al Gore telling us about how global warming is creating this excessive wind today in Detroit?
I'm not really sure what his intentions are and why he talks about what he talks about, but I assume it has something to do with money, power, politics.
Would you support Dennis Kucinich for vice president?
Dennis Kucinich?
I'll take that as a maybe. Very good. Would you like to testify to something as to how bogus the war on drugs is? All right, we'll give you a couple minutes to say your piece. You can take as much time as you need to make a complete thought, because this is not Hash Bash. This is Liberation Day. We got all day, people.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? All right, my name's Mike. I don't smoke weed or anything. I can't because my throat's fucked up. But I don't know. I like marijuana. I like this culture, that is here right now. And I like talking to you guys. And I don't know. It's really cool to see things like this put together. And I feel like one of the main problems right now, as far as getting things done, is a lack of organization. This is an organized event right here. It's nice, and it's beneficial to everybody. But there's so many other opportunities out there. There's places where you can just get up and go and set up shop and do what you do, and invite your friends and have them participate in whatever you need. Whatever you want to do. And I don't know. I smoked pot for a long time, and I probably misused it. I just was always tired all the time. Fucking didn't have any motivation to do shit. But I mean, that's the dark side of it, But there is an upside though, and I see it in everyone here. Hello? Oh, that's a little better. The upside is every one of your guys' smiling faces welcoming everyone who comes here. Doesn't matter what they look like, doesn't matter what they, smell like, dress like, whatever. Fucking everyone's open, everyone's willing to talk, And that's what it takes to organize this kind of event, So I just encourage everyone to find a place where you can bring some people together, because that's what it's all about. That's how you're going to make a difference. So, thanks.
All right, what was your name again? Mike. Hey, Mike, thanks a lot. All right, I have a wireless now. This should be an interesting little game to play. I'm hearing drums now. That's kind of a cool sound effect. Everybody who's got a drum, let me hear you just start drumming as if the circle started already. I want to see how far I can go and still hear you. This is the 8th annual Detroit edition of the Global March, Camp, Concert, and Rally for Cannabis Liberation. Yeah, it's a little witty here. I see my signs starting to fall apart in the lawn here, but I can hear myself to the street. How far into the street can I hear myself? They can probably hear me on the bus. They can maybe hear us on the bikes. When we get the drummers on the other side of the park, they'll be able to hear Liberation Day on the other side of the park too. Thank you, Felice, for stepping forward and leading our drummers today. Drums sound real nice, but you still got to be actually in the park to hear them. It's a big bell on the other side. I figure you can take some of these sign sticks or something and bang on the bell, get a rhythm going on that. So you can drum and participate in the circle even if you don't have a drum or a noisemaker, because the city of Detroit has been nice enough to provide a big one. Big old bell. One of these years we're going to march, and we're going to march down past City Hall where they've got that big black fist sticking out. And I'm going to bust a needle across that big black fist to give power to those who've overcome addiction, and to give power to those who are fighting to help others overcome addiction. And I'm talking about Ibogaine, Ibogaine. But pot is also the anti-drug. Pot is the best drug education we have. Pot is the best demand reduction system we have for addictive drugs. And kids, if you're already aware of pot, let me just tell you as the grown-up that you've already found the best thing. You don't need to keep searching. You're not going to find anything in any of these other drugs that's going to do for you what pot can do for you. And if your pot's not doing enough for you, as Tom Crosland used to say, buy stronger pot. Hey, Felice, let's start some drumming right where I'm standing here. Everyone who's got a drum, come over to where I am with the wireless. I'm not quite going to start jumping up and down doing the pogo, but we got Bob coming. Hello, Bob is coming. We got Cosmo. Pick up your bottles, Cosmo. Cosmo, I don't know. He's a peace officer. I let him bring bottles onto this park, but I tell people not to bring alcohol here because it's really not cool. The city doesn't want me bringing alcohol here, and this is a pot rally, not an alcohol rally. But I tolerate because Cosmo's a guy, and he has the potential of smoking me out to the point where I feel like I might throw up. And that's a fun, rare Canadian kind of experience, so I let him get away with it. Better not make a mess, and he better not break any glass, or I'll have to kick his ass for it. Let me tell you a story about Alex White Plume. Alex White Plume was a man living on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in a place that we call the Badlands. It's like the worst real estate in all of America. It's all desert. Nothing grows there but some very scraggly grass and some very weak-looking corn. And that's where they put them all. They call it a reservation, but I call it a concentration camp. Here in Detroit, they might call it the projects, because that's what a reservation is. It's like the projects, except instead of getting rooms, you just get a bunch of flat earth. And it's the flat earth. I know I'm screaming at, he's got the gain up too high. I'm trying to get people to come out of there and hear for the drums. Oh, Marvin Marvin. Is the band over there, can they turn the gain down on this mic a little bit? That's all the problem is, just a little bit too much gain. The volume's fine, I'm just clipping. I'm clipping, I'm tripping on my clipping, and that's sounding better, and that's good. Little less. Okay, and then now you can bring the master back up. All right, that's good then. Is that good? Is everyone happy now? All right. Not happy, you're happy now, I say so. That's Bush's America. If Bush can do it, I can do it too. No, we're here to fire up the bushes, but not literally. Here we are in Grand Circus Park. We got our drum circle started. We got Felice in the house, so I'm going to let these guys float here for a bit, and then I'm going to maybe send them off to the other side. Who knows what time it is? Come on, stop. If it's 4:20, we're late. What time? 3:12 Eastern Boulevard time. Just feeding you a bunch of Boulevard today. So we got almost another hour to go before we decide whether or not we're going to have a march. It looks like we have a quorum for the vote. Let me tell you about Alex White Plume. Alex White Plume's a true American hero. He was a man who was a police officer. He was on the tribal council. He was in the Marines in Vietnam. He was just about everything a man could be in a lifetime. But he was a true Lakota Sioux. He was the head of his family. And as the head of his family, he had responsibilities there. And he was part of the local legitimate government of the Oglala Lakota Nation that lives on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And one of the things he did in the tribal council, which is the white man's recognized version of their government, was on the way out, they were going to retire, you see, him and a few other buddies got together and said, well, let's legalize industrial hemp on the reservation on our way out. So in 97, they legalized industrial hemp on the reservation, and they had some underground growing activities and some experiments. They had a man who was a cannabis activist from Colorado who provided acres worth of seed for them. And so in 2000, they made their first full-fledged acre-and-a-half official test plot of hemp. And they told everybody about it. They called the media. They told the authorities, of course, knowing that the authorities had no actual authority to come onto the reservation and do anything about it. And if anyone was going to come in and attack them, it would have had to have been the United States federal agent of some sort. And things were looking good. They called it their field of dreams. And people would, on their way to Seattle Hemp Fest, would make a stop by, and they saw these plants that were 15 and 18 feet tall over their heads, and they would allow people to take a bough from a hemp tree and hold it over their heads and pose for pictures and stuff. And one kid said, no, you know, I may run for Congress someday. I can't do this. They may hold it against me, but they assured him that by the time he was old enough to run for Congress, it would be legal by then. That's a nice thought. It probably will in the great Northwest and in Seattle and places. And hopefully here in Michigan in another year for the medical use. So everything was looking cool. They had a published harvest day where they're going to allow activists and all the people who really cherish this plant to come and have a ceremony to say goodbye to it and to harvest it and cut them down. And basically when you harvest hemp, you destroy the quote-unquote marijuana in the process of harvesting the hemp. So a hemp farmer and a pot farmer can be easily determined and separated from each other simply by their farming techniques. We got a hacky sack thing. Can we have a hacky sack tournament? We got some hey, can you go by the drum circle and do that, or on the grass? Uh-oh. He's going to be doing some hacksturbation over here in the corner. So here we go. Everything's cool. Why would there be any problem, right? It's just industrial hemp, and it really was. I mean, this stuff was 0% THC in the bud if you even grew it that long on the females. I mean, this was not going to get anybody anything but a headache if they smoked it. But no, 4 days before the published harvest date, black SUVs start rolling onto the reservation, and it's a big surprise attack and military assault of FBI and an intertribal task enforcement team and the DEA and a couple of the Lakota authorities that they had hoodwinked into allowing them to come onto the reservation and offer them up jurisdiction to come in and raid the reservation and steal this acre and a half of hemp. And they cut it down and they shook the plants up so bad that all the seeds fell off. And so the next year, they didn't plant on that same field. They said it was defiled ground because the white man had come in and wrecked their sacred field that they'd prayed over and cared about so much. But the field grew back twice as thick the next year as it did the year before. So now it's called the DEA field because the DEA planted 2 acres of hemp on an acre and a half of soil. And the next year, they were going to go ahead and harvest that along with all the other crops that they had planted. They'd actually planted somewhere around 6 acres the second year. And 4 days before the published harvest date, the feds come in with helicopters this time and big U-Haul trucks this time. And they steal the crop a second time. They steal their own crop, but they think it's Alex's, and they're going, now you Indians, we don't want to see you messing around with this marijuana plant anymore. And if you grew again, we're going to sue you. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to sue you. They're going to sue the Sioux. But they're not going to arrest anybody, and they're not going to shoot anybody with those big M16s and assault rifles that they're pointing at everybody inside. And they know it. So the third year, I was there. I said, you know what? I want to see the plants while they're still alive. I kept seeing the cut stalks at the bottom of the field. It was a disgusting sight walking through a field that had been raped like that, where you can look and see the comparison of the condition of the soil where it's starting to turn brown from the traditional gray color, and that the weeds have all been choked out. You can see some weeds that would normally be like 8 feet tall are just mutated and scragged, look like they died a torturous death there underneath the pot leaves. But I went there and I got sick of seeing that. I wanted to see some live plants, so I showed up a couple weeks early, and I got a chance to sit in on one of the tribal council meetings. And they all circle up, and everybody has one chance to say one thing. And I just said, look, if you're going to grow these plants, and the government of this country is going to continue accusing you of being pot farmers, well, they're going to have to start behaving as if you were pot farmers, because they're not the ones getting busted. And the first rule of
Detroit. I'm glad to be here in Grand Circus Park in Detroit in front of the historic Central Methodist Church, Detroit's Peace Church. We want to bring an end to war. We want peace and an end to the drug war with all its abuses and oppressions. We want to medicalize, not criminalize. And frankly, it's common sense. It should be treated like any other normal substance of relaxation, with a certain moderation and thoughtfulness, just as we would approach alcohol. With thoughtfulness and moderation, we can approach other soft intoxicants like cannabis, which is far less medically harmful or socially harmful than alcohol. So at the very bare minimum, we'd want to have this whole topic normalized. The equation.
Let me up yourself, 'cause we say so. Thank you. And when I look out my window, yeah, what do you think I see? And when I look in my window, so many different people to be. That is strange. Sure is strange. You got to pick up every stitch. You got to pick up every stitch. You got to pick up every stitch. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. Must be the season of the witches. It must be the season of the witch. Yeah. Must be the season of the witch. And when I look over my shoulder, yeah, what do you think I see? And when I look over my shoulder, some other cat looking over his shoulder at me. And he's strange. He sure is strange. You got to pick up every stitch. You got to pick up every stitch. You got to pick up every stitch. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. It must be the season of the witches. It must be the season of the witch. Yeah. It must be the season of the witch. Check this shit out. You got to pick up every stitch. Two rabbits running in the ditch. Phoenix to add to make it rich. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. Must be the season of the witches. It must be the season of the witch. Yeah. Must be the season of the witch. It must be the season of the witch. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, Def Jam, right?